This is a narrated PowerPoint on oral presentations. We're going to start out talking about oral presentations in general, and then talk more specifically about narrated PowerPoints next week. But this week we're just going to talk in general about oral presentations. Thus said Franklin D. Roosevelt. Oral presentations can be difficult, both for the speaker and for the audience, especially if they're not done well. Here's your assignment. You can talk about your portfolio. You can treat this as another introduction to it. You can talk about problems you had with it, since this is for a class if you like. So, oral presentations, more or less efficient than written ones. Generally, they're inefficient. There can be audience interference. You never know what the weather's going to be like and how barometric pressure may affect your audience, but it does permit a dialogue, and so that's what's valuable about them, especially at work when you have a problem you need to discuss. These are the 4 steps we're going to talk about in this narrated PowerPoint. The speaking situation. As always, you analyze the audience. We talk about analyzing audience or readers for written work, but this is a literal audience. You want to think about your purpose. What do you want your audience to do after they hear your presentation? Do you want them to call you up and invite you in for an interview, or do you want them to do something? Generally, that's what you want to think about in terms of what you want your audience to do after you finish speaking to them. So, in terms of further assessing the speaking situation, you want to think, are there any time limitations? Do you have 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20, an hour, 2 hours, half a day, all day? With longer presentations, you need to build in a break, of course. Not with a 5-minute one, though. It's always good to plan for a question and answer period. We're not going to have that, but a lot of times even with narrated PowerPoints, questions can arise. People can ask questions, and somebody could conceivably ask you a question on the discussion board, and you could respond to that as well, as a way of getting part of your discussion board credit. I'm going to start by preparing an outline or note cards. I like to just use a big piece of paper, a legal pad. But your oral presentation does need to be carefully and logically structured. If it isn't, it'll show, and you'll lose your audience, and they'll be bored, and they won't listen, and then you won't accomplish your goal. Always introduce yourself. Even if you've been introduced, repeat your name. And if you're ever doing a group presentation, whenever you move from person to person, be sure to introduce the next person. And then if you're the next person, be sure to introduce yourself again. You always want that clear statement of scope, purpose, and organization. You want to tell your audience exactly what you're going to tell them and how you're going to tell it to them. What are you going to do? Are you going to present a series of figures and compare and contrast them? Are you making an argument? Are you using comparison and contrast to make an argument? In the body of your speech, you want to explain clearly. Using examples is key. And in the conclusion, summarize. And, in terms of writing, you're constantly being told to summarize, and the conclusion of an essay is the most important to summarize in an oral presentation, because people are sitting and listening to you. They're not reading. They can't go back and scan what you've said unless they're recording you. Okay, rehearsing the presentation. You can go through various strategies. You can get some friends together and they'll take you seriously and give your presentation to them and then get feedback. You can do it while looking at a mirror if you're actually going to be before an audience. Or, of course, you can videotape or not videotape, but you can record yourself and do a video of yourself doing your presentation. Just set the camera up in the right place or get somebody to help you with that. And revise, of course. Go back. Rehearsal is a type of revision over and over again until you get it right. Gestures, of course, applies if someone's going to see you, but of course intonation is important too, whether someone can see you or not. That's your tone of voice. We'll talk more about that in a minute. You don't want to try to memorize your presentation. It's best to work from notes. If you memorize it and you're nervous while you're giving it, it's not at all unusual to forget chunks of it. So avoid memorization. In terms of giving the oral presentation, remember that signs of nervousness are more apparent to you than they are to your audience. So relax. Try taking some deep breaths before you get up there to do your presentation, or before you start recording. You want to project restrained self-confidence. It means you have a clear voice, you're not speaking too fast or too slow. You want to vary your pitch. You don't want to be going up at the end of every sentence, of course, but you do want your voice to go up and down. You don't want to become a complete monotone. Volume is important. You don't want to speak too loudly, so that becomes a distraction. On the other hand, this is what more people have trouble with. You don't want to speak not loudly enough so that people have trouble hearing you. Rate of speed is very important. You speak too fast, you might jumble your sentence. People can't understand you. On the other hand, if you speak too slow, that will bore people. So what you want to do is try to hit the happy medium. And of course, you want to avoid verbal fillers, any type of repetition like that. And it's something that we all do. Just be aware of it and avoid it. It's more effective to just pause than it is to fill it in with an or an You want to avoid long pauses. That can become awkward. When you pause, it should be for emphasis. Questions?